Questrade versus Wealthsimple Trade. Which is the best broker for you in 2023? That is what we're gonna find out. Here's an updated video for you guys, highly requested. Hope everybody's having a happy new year. We're gonna start off with Wealthsimple Trade. We'll do an overview, we'll talk about the updates and new features since my last video or videos that I've done on them, and then I will summarize. But Wealthsimple Trade is very likely going to be your most frictionless step into the stock market, and that's very indicative when you see so many people opening up an account, throwing in a few $100 just to test the waters. This is a company that is of course backed by Power Corp. They've done exceptionally well at growing over the past number of years, millions and millions of dollars in backing. This is one of two commission-free trading platforms in Canada, which has such a strong appeal, meaning no commissions when you buy and sell stocks. We're actually going to mention the second one at the end of this video as an honorable mention. Wealthsimple Trade boasts very few fees. There's no account minimum. So easy to get started. Wealthsimple takes the cake when it comes to the user interface, the user experience. It is such a beautiful and easy platform to navigate. It's not overwhelming with data and confusing. For a new entrant to the market, this is such a bonus to keep investing simple. It gives you what you need, but it also doesn't overcomplicate things. And for anybody that has taken the time to check out the app, they've done a phenomenal job of just making it a fun, bright, modern, and positive experience. A huge feature that is unique to Wealthsimple Trade is the ability to go out and buy fractional shares. What are fractional shares? Fractional shares essentially lets you go out and buy portions of a stock. You don't need to go out and afford one whole share when you're looking at stocks with a higher ticket value or stocks that do trade at a higher price. This is something that definitely benefits the smaller investor with less dollar figures. It opens up the option and the array of stocks that you could choose that on other platforms you may not have the capital to go out and buy. Worth pointing out that not every single stock out there is available for fractional trading, but the list is increasing and it's deepening with time. And a lot of the big companies that you would be interested in, very likely you can go out and buy fractional shares. This is something that is very special and a very big benefit to Wealthsimple Trade. They do of course offer instant deposits, not as important for me, but for some people that want to be more timely with the market, they don't want to wait for their funds to transfer over and wire over, which in the space of investments, in the space of finance, typically takes a few business days. Depending on how much money you have in your account, or whether you are a basic versus plus subscriber, feel free to pause this if you like. You are going to have a unique amount to your account, how much you can instant deposit, but let's just say that would be anywhere from $1,500 to $5,000. You can see it actually getting as high as $25,000 for certain users of Wealthsimple Trade. Wealthsimple Trade does allow the purchase of certain cryptos if that is something that you are interested in. I know very popular with the younger demographic. I don't know about as much now. Nevertheless, it is possible. Actually, Wealthsimple kind of merged under their umbrella. They kind of merged all three of their different platforms, which is the trade, the invest, and the crypto. They're all kind of under one hood. So that is an option that is unique to Wealthsimple Trade. I would say that a flaw or a downside, a bash with Wealthsimple Trade is that they still currently only offer 3 main accounts. Those accounts, of course, being a personal account, meaning a taxable account, the TFSA or the tax-free savings account, as well as the RRSP. For many investors out there, this may be all that you ever need when it comes to account types. They've knocked off the big 3. But if you are somebody that has more needs in the stock market, for example, opening up accounts such as an RESP, education savings plan for your kids, maybe you want to open a corporate account or you want to transfer money from a pension plan like a LIRA or whatever the case is. There are a variety of other investment accounts that you can open, just not on Wealthsimple. You would be sticking with the big 3. Last but not least, of course, this is a mobile first app. That is how they built up and started the entire concept of Wealthsimple Trade. However, there is a desktop feature available as well. If you like to do your trading on your computer, you can absolutely do that too. Now let's move on into the newer features that have been rolled out with Wealthsimple Trade as of recent that may be of interest to you, starting with, of course, the big one, which is the Wealthsimple Plus subscription. This is a very new and innovative concept in the brokerage space, something that I actually haven't ever seen before, where for $10 a month, you can get a variety of added benefits. We talked about the higher instant deposits. The main benefit, however, would be the ability to save on currency conversion fees when you are out buying US stocks. You can actually hold US dollars in your account. And with Wealthsimple Trade, for any of the basic members, if you are not on the Plus plan, commission-free trading platform, it truly is. You do not pay a commission when you buy and sell, but of course you do pay a currency conversion or a Forex fee when you're going out and buying American stocks. It is a Canadian dollar account, and Wealthsimple Trade charges 1.5% essentially to take your Canadian dollars to go buy a US stock, i.e. Tesla, i.e. McDonald's, i.e. Apple, whatever the stock is that you're looking at. You would pay a 1.5% fee to essentially convert your dollars, buy that stock. When you sell that, it would essentially hit you with a fee on the back end, totaling about 3% to get that back into Canadian dollars. Now for $10 a month, you can negate that and you can have the ability to go out and buy US stocks, retain US dollars in your account, and you can save a lot of money on fees. In fact, this is a post here on Reddit, which you can feel free to pause. It's just a little bit of quick math that somebody had done up a number of months back saying, when is this fee worth it? Well, if you trade more than $333 per month, you guys can double check the math on this, but essentially $4,000 per year of US stocks, it makes sense to pay for Wealthsimple Trade Plus. Obviously, the bigger of an investor you are, as the dollar figures get larger and larger with your trades, well, you are paying more and more money in currency fees, in foreign transaction fees. That 1.5% fee does start to add up. So if you are an investor that does plan to buy a lot more US stocks than Canadian stocks, this $10 per month fee could be very well worth it. This was actually one of my major bashes on Wealthsimple over the past number of years. I think this is a very innovative and a very cool feature. Very, very fascinating that, like I said, from a dollar standpoint, if you plan to buy US stocks, may make a lot of sense. Next feature that I think is just absolutely great is the ability to buy on a schedule or make recurring investments. This is different, by the way, from a pack, a pre-authorized contribution where every 2 weeks or every month, money automatically comes from your bank account into your investment account. Every brokerage allows that. Most people should set that up to make investing a lot simpler, but this actually lets you specify and make purchases, whether that be, for example, maybe a specific stock, maybe you want a dollar cost average into the index. Such a great addition to the platform, something that actually Questrade does not allow. This is a very new feature, but one that I would say is a major benefit for Wealthsimple Plus, the ability to buy on a schedule. Next new feature to chat about is the ability to buy and sell options within Wealthsimple Trade. And this is a feature that is currently being rolled out. As I film this video, for example, my account has not toggled on options. I can tool around on there. It does not show up for me, but for many users over the internet, you will see they are very excited to be able to buy and sell options. I would assume that as they roll this out in beta, it's very limited in the capabilities of what you can do, but that very well, I would assume, would expand with time. Whether options is something you care for, something that you want to dive into, or something that you should dive into, that is for you to decide as an investor. But nevertheless, it is very promising, I would say, to see this platform deepening. This was actually one of the bashes that I had when comparing against Questrade in the past. For certain investors that want to dive into this style of trading, Wealthsimple Trade was rather limited. Well, hey, the beta feature is here. They're pushing a big campaign for that now. I believe that by the end of the year, just a rough estimate, a guesstimate from my end, I'd assume that this is something that's available for all Wealthsimple users. Now, final little call out here, it's not a new feature per se, but I think it's very worth mentioning, very relevant, is simply adding more stocks available to trade on the platform. And one of the bashes I used to give on Wealthsimple over the years was the inability to buy a stock like Disney. Okay, Disney, big blue chip stock, one of the largest in the world and a very popular stock amongst many investors out there, for whatever reason, was not available to trade on Disney. Now, there are a handful of other stocks that fit into this category just based on how they were structured or how they were viewed in IROC's standpoint, not entirely sure. However, over the past year, they have added stocks like Disney to the platform. It is available to trade, and I think that is a major benefit, always moving in the right direction. In summary, with Wealthsimple Trade, it is a phenomenal choice, especially for those new investors with smaller dollar figures who want to get their first foothold in the market. All of these new features that have been rolled out indicate to me that this is an app, a platform that is currently constantly innovating, constantly improving. And a lot of the knocks against Wealthsimple Trade are slowly being ticked off, whether that be options, whether that be the US dollars within the account. This to me is such a frictionless, easy way to get started with the stock market. They're really changing the space in terms of the traditional, slow, boring, non-techie and non-modern ways to invest. I love Wealthsimple Trade. The knocks that I would have still to this day would be still a limited amount of account types to choose from. If you were an investor with deeper needs and you know you needed a LIRA, you know you needed a spousal RSP or a corporate account for that matter, right now you are still limited to the 3. B, one thing that I didn't mention is although they are adding more and more stocks on the platform, you still cannot go out and buy, for example, on a foreign exchange. If you wanted to go out and buy something on the London exchange or the Hong Kong exchange, you cannot quite do that. You can buy ADRs and CDRs, which I've done videos on if you're not familiar with those, but those do trade on more common exchanges here in North America. The way they're structured, you can go out and do that, but you are limited in that aspect if you want to be a big international investor. And then 3, final point here, which I have not mentioned yet in the video, for our dividend investors, Wealthsimple Trade still does not offer a drip feature. Now, would that come soon? I would very likely assume that at the pace that they are innovating, that will, but as of filming this video, drips or dividend reinvestment programs, dividend reinvestment plans where you automatically redeploy your dividends back into the portfolio, not currently available, but overall, Wealthsimple Trade is a phenomenal choice. I believe I have a bonus for you guys down below this video. I'm not entirely sure what it is at this exact moment. $50 in sign up or get 2 free stocks. If you want to support the channel, use that link down below and get some sign up bonuses when you set up an account with Wealthsimple Trade. Next up, let's move on and compare that to the brokerage Questrade. Now, Questrade, for context, I invest on as well. So I've been invested on Wealthsimple. I currently invest on Questrade as well. It is still my platform of choice, kinda, as we'll get on into this video. They have not been innovating. We do not have that much new features to talk about. One of the big initiatives in 2021 was the rollout of their new app, which when compared to Wealthsimple Trade, they tried very, very hard. It is no doubt better than the app that they had before, but user experience, user interface is nowhere quite near Wealthsimple. And in fact, on Questrade, they do have a mobile and a desktop version. I very rarely find myself going on the app just because I don't think they hit it too well. I think it was not executed as well. One of the big things they did too was they of course revamped their entire website to be more modern, to be more, I believe, more like Wealthsimple. I don't think they did a very good job at that. In fact, one of the tips that I give for anybody that does go with Questrade, I always like going back to the old format. So the Investor Edge platform, I believe it is, I did a YouTube short on that. I can overlay that here. There's just a couple quick clicks that you can make within the platform to go back to the old viewing model. I just find it so much easier to use, so much easier to navigate. And that's definitely something that I would consider. If I were you, Questrade, please don't ever take that feature away because yeah, the new layout is just not quite it. But to go over the features of Questrade for those not familiar, Questrade does charge a commission. They are not a commission-free platform. They charge a commission of 1 cent per share with a minimum trade of $4.95 and a maximum of $9.95. Essentially, the way that I like to look at it is when you're buying and selling stocks on Questrade, you're paying a commission of $5 to $10 depending on the quantity. One thing to note there too is that if you're buying Canadian dollars, you're paying a Canadian dollar commission. If you're buying US dollars, you're paying a US dollar commission, but in most cases, you're gonna be capped out at a $10 commission, even if you're trading large dollar figures. One thing that has progressed with Questrade is they have dropped a lot of their fees to kind of compete with the other brokerages out there. There is no account fee, there is no inactivity fee, which used to be charged every quarter. Those have been dropped. A feature that I do love is although they do charge a commission when buying and selling stocks, you can go out and purchase ETFs for free. So for ETF investors, for index investors who want to just buy VFV or VGRO and let it ride, you do not have to pay a commission on the way in. You do have to pay a commission on the way out. So when you sell a stock, you would pay that typical commission. But that is something that I think is a big benefit. If you plan to be an index investor, you can essentially go commission free on this platform if you are strictly index funds only. They do, of course, offer options. That's something they've offered for quite some time. Options commissions are a flat rate of $9.95 plus $1 per contract. And you do have a lot of other investing options beyond Wealthsimple Trade. For example, buying and holding mutual funds on the platform. This doesn't sound that important, but it can be important. Where I see this most is, let's assume you're transferring your account. Let's say you have mutual funds with the bank or you have mutual funds with your advisor and you want to, shift that to your DIY portfolio, but you don't necessarily want to sell the mutual funds right off the bat. Well, you can't quite do that because mutual funds aren't supported on Wealthsimple Trade. With Questrade, you can. And if you do decide, you can hold them for however long or you could sell them off. That's totally up to you, but that is an option. They do offer things like bonds, GICs, international equities, as I mentioned, if you want to go out and buy directly off of a foreign exchange, you can do so. They do also offer IPOs and new issues, not something that I've ever done, but as you can see, there is more depth to this. Now, on that topic of depth, the major advantage that I would still give to Questrade is just the amount of account types, for example, that you can open. You have your TFSAs, you have your RSPs, you have your RESPs, although you don't get the grant, something that you can look into. Margin accounts, you have your full suite of retirement accounts. You can do corporate accounts and trust. I actually have my corporate account with Questrade, for example, because Wealthsimple Trade doesn't offer it. So if you have those deeper needs, this still may be the better option when comparing the two. On the topic of currency within Questrade, they do allow you to hold US dollars within the account. So you don't have to pay a monthly $10 subscription fee just to hold US dollars. It's actually broken down between Canadian and US dollars. You would still pay the currency conversion fee upfront, which is very typical and very standard. If you have Canadian dollars, in fact, what I commonly do is within the platform, I will just exchange my dollars. You can put in a request. I want to buy $10,000 worth of USD or vice versa. Yes, you'll pay in exchange, but then you can retain that in its respective currency. This again is important for investors that do plan to buy US securities along with their Canadian stocks. Again, you would be still paying a commission there, which with Wealthsimple, you could pay the $10 and kind of wipe it out. Nevertheless, that is fine. With Questrade, they do have an account minimum. This is a big, indicator in and of itself, depending on how much money you're looking to start with. It's not widely stated on their website, but they do have a $1,000 minimum deposit, meaning in order to get started trading with Questrade, you need to at least put $1,000 into the account. In theory, you can actually open up an account and kind of tool around on there, but they won't actually open up trading until your account meets that $1,000 minimum deposit. If you are an investor that's starting with less money, well, very logically, you may just have to resort to Wealthsimple. It is built for an investor with a smaller dollar figure. But if you're an investor starting with $1,000 or more, this should not be a problem. Last but not least, with Questrade, what I will say is that their support system has definitely improved. With Wealthsimple Trade, you can't really chat with someone. You can't really call them up. You just have to submit a ticket, which can be frustrating sometimes when you need a timely response and you kind of got to go through that whole system. With Questrade, they do have a very good chat feature, which has improved significantly over the years, where within usually just a few minutes, you can get whatever support you need. Last thing to note here as well is that this is a deeper platform. I keep saying deeper platform. One of the ways this is proven is within the platform, they have research from, I believe right now it is TipRanks, which is a comprehensive research tool, which can help assist you in identifying stocks or doing your research on specific companies. We do have the same sign-up bonus that we've had for years with Questrade. They haven't updated it, but if you are gonna set up an account with Questrade, using the link down below will get you $50 in commission-free trades, at least help you recoup some of that initially, versus if you decide to go with Wealthsimple Trade. So in summary, what is the better brokerage for you to use here in 2023? I think both of these options are great, but I do think that Wealthsimple Trade now does take the cake. I think that for most investors, it's easy, it's frictionless, the low cost nature and all of the new features that they have. This is an innovative platform that I think a lot of people can resort to as their first go at into the stock market. I would say, however, if you are an investor that knows you have deeper needs, for example, the account types, and you know, hey, I'm gonna need more than those 3 basic accounts. I'm going to need a Lira. I'm going to need a spousal RSP. Whatever that may be, then I would navigate over to Questrade. I've personally invested on both of these platforms, and although there is nuance, you can have success on either of them. It's more or less a personal preference. They're both great at the end of the day. What I would say, as always, to wrap up this video is you can nitpick about which is the better brokerage and which fees are better or what features are better. At the end of the day, it's your investing, it's your strategy, it's you as the investor that's really gonna make all the difference. It's not the $5 commission, it's not the fractional trading. You can have all the tools you need, but it's on you as the DIY investor to go out and build a good strategy and to go out and buy good stocks or good ETFs and build a portfolio. That's really what's gonna move the needle at the end of the day. Of course, if you guys need help with that, whether you wanna go with Wealthsimple, whether you wanna go with Questrade, or whether you wanna go with a variety of other brokerage options here in Canada, do of course check out the Investing Academy. That is where we work with Canadians all over the country and we walk them through step by step. As a first-time investor, you don't need to know the lingo, the terminology, the tools to go out and research stocks. We will guide you through every single step of the way. We've helped thousands of Canadians do that. That is that first link down below if you'd like to check it out. But as always, I thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next video.